Okay, so this was my old iPad, right? And I used to ride around. I only wanted to have one device, but I needed to have a big device for some things. So I used an iPad for everything. Um, and so I carried an iPad around with me in my backpack, all the time. Well, one day I was riding a bicycle, and I had my backpack, and then my iPad was outside of the backpack, but in this like basket. But the basket had big holes in it because it's a basket, right? It was a wire basket, and I didn't want to put my iPad in my backpack because I was using it as a map, right? Anyway, it fell out onto the road, and by the time I got back to it, somebody ran over it with a car, right? Uh, but it still worked. It still worked. This screen was all messed up, but still it worked. But uh, you know, I could tell it just kept getting worse and worse, just minute by minute. It was just flickering, and it was obvious the thing was on its last leg, right? So I had to go get a new one, right? So it was just my excuse to go buy a new one, right? It was kind of good news, really. All right. So on its last leg, right, is the expression we use. My car's on its last leg. My computer's on its last leg. Uh, I had to, what was it? I had to buy a new keyboard recently because my keyboard was on its last leg for a while, and then it just totally shot craps. Shot craps means died, right? So anyway, that's the expression, on its last leg, right? So, and some people say on its last legs, but I always say on its last leg. Maybe that's just, that means it's really, really bad, right? When it's on its last single leg. So let's take a look here. This car is on its last legs, he says. So if you watch this video, he'll start talking about the various problems it has.
The moment I've been dreading.
Okay.
This car is on its final legs.
He said on its final legs, but on its last legs is a comment. Now he's going to talk about all the problems this thing has. This needs to be replaced. This other thing needs to be replaced. So, so car on its last leg. Okay. Now this guy's talking about a furnace in a house on its last leg. It means it's really ending its final life of usefulness. That it's going to cost more to repair it than it is to just buy a new one. Okay, let's take a listen here.
Hit there by the buyer.
Yeah, so if you have 30-year-old carpet and
Yes.
cabinets and
Yes.
countertop.
Yes. Or if you've got a furnace that is on its last leg.
Right.
Okay, furnace that's on its last leg.
It was really on its last.
Oops.
All f***ed up, right? It's kind of on its last leg, right? It's kind of like seeing like a car held together with gaffer's tape, or like.
Okay.
Pretty uneventful until I get on my last leg. I'm on the plane and there's
Okay.
this
So
young.
no, that's a different thing. That's a different.
It's approximately 20 years old and it's on its last leg.
So it means it's getting ready to, need to be replaced. Okay, it's not too hard to understand. Okay, I guess you can imagine where this probably came from. If you had this sounds terrible, but if a dog, like let's say if a dog injures his one leg, he'll run around on three legs for biggest part of his life. But if he injures his other, on one more leg, then he's gonna struggle actually with two legs, and then if he's on his last leg, you can figure that it's going to be hard, right? It's a image I don't like, but it's kind of, that's the image. It's on its last leg. Could be probably where it came from a dog or a horse or something that's on its last leg, right? Now, one thing that I don't want you to get confused by is the one guy in the video that just played was talking about he was on his last leg. In that case, he was talking about a plane transfer. So, you transfer it, one airport, then you transfer to another one, then you transfer to another one, and then your final plane ride is your last leg, the last leg of the trip, right? And it could be the last leg of a race. They're on the last leg of a race, so that's a different kind of thing, right? I'm talking about the one on its last leg. You could also use this in a lot of different ways. You could use it for a computer. You could use it for a tractor, anything mechanical. But you could also use it for like a person. I think he's on his last leg. I think he's on his last leg. Let's say. Unfortunately, Joe Biden seems like he's on his last leg. It's just, it's getting pretty bad, right? So, but anyway, something needs to be replaced. It's on its last leg. Okay, I will talk to you on the next idiom.